This episode is brought to you by Wise. Wise is the app for international people using money around the globe. With Wise, you can send, spend, and receive up to 40 currencies with only a few simple taps and save up to 55% compared to major banks. Plus, Wise won't add hidden fees to your transfer. Whether you're buying souvenirs with pesos in Puerto Vallarta or sending euros to tip your Colosseum tour guide, you know you're getting a fair exchange rate with no extra markups. Be smart. Join the 15 million customers who choose Wise. Download the Wise app today or visit wise.com. Learn more by visiting wise.com/US/compare. T's and C's apply. Today on CityCast Denver. The Supreme Court is taking on another Colorado case, this time involving conversion therapy, which has been banned here since 2019. Plus, we have an update on the future of Pete's University Park Cafe, some surprising news about a very famous Coloradan, and a major grievance with the Avs. Me and producer Paul Caroli dig into these stories and answer listener questions about a Denverite on Survivor, mall madness, and more. Today is Tuesday, October 7th. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Hey, Paul.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
You know what we don't have to talk about right now?
Our membership campaign.
It's over. Thank you all so much for your support.
Truly, it's kind of mind-blowing. You guys really showed up for us, and it was so awesome.
And as a way of saying thank you, that's the last thing we'll say about it.
Perfect.
Let's move on.
Okay. Well, I was just out and about in the world this weekend, and I went down to the Pete's Cafe in DU because I wanted to go for one last time because they're closing in November.
What's the date? Do you know the date?
I think it's the 9th of November. Let me double check.
It's probably a moving target.
Yeah. It kind of looked like they were, they run other restaurants, obviously, but it kind of looked like they were at the dregs of certain things. Like they didn't have any more crayons for kids to color with and such. And it was packed as usual. But I overheard a gentleman in the family talking at the register with the folks in front of me about what's going to come next. And it is not
what do we know?
It's not a restaurant.
Okay.
It's a bank. And I just got to say, after this happened to my favorite diner of all time, the Denver Diner, I'm really sad. I will never go in there again if it's not my bank.
The Denver Diner that's now the Chase Bank at Colfax and Spear.
Yes.
That's the thing about Denver. We're very good at this diner to bank pipeline. This is one of our local traditions. We cherish it. We're proud of it.
It sucks so bad. Because I was looking around the diner, and this is a comment I've made so many times. Diners are this incredible cross-section of humanity. You see all kinds of people, families, hungover DU students. There was a whole girls volleyball team in there. It was like, this place is beautiful, and this doesn't happen in a lot of places anymore. And so I'm sad, but I heard the owner being like, man, it's expensive to run a restaurant. We're kind of done with this one. And so get in there before November if you'd like to still enjoy it as a diner.
I will say the cross-section of humanity thing, you can also say that about a bank. Every time I go to a bank, there's a lot of different kinds of people there.
Yeah,
everyone does business at a bank.
But it doesn't feel communal in the way that a diner is, where I don't know.
Food's worse.
Well,
those little candies, stale little candies, gross. Never been to a bank with a good candy.
I'll just be sad by myself over here, I guess, that another diner is disappearing.
I'm sorry for the people. Those kinds of places are community hubs. It's terrible. I'm sure there were people like the Thursday morning book club. I don't know that that's a thing, but every place that has one of these. Yeah.
So get there before you can't go there anymore, sadly. Some other hot goss we had was, I don't know if it's goss, there was this photo of some Avalanche players that appeared last week that really ruffled your feathers. Not just yours, many people's.
Well, I actually didn't see as much chatter about this as I thought I would, to be honest. But where I first noticed it was while I was watching the Thursday night NFL game broadcast on Amazon Prime, because I'm a huge football fan and I'll watch the games the Broncos don't even play in now. So this is a game between the LA Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. The LA Rams, of course, are owned by local billionaire Stan Kroenke, who also, in addition to being a massive landowner and property developer, he owns the Avalanche, the Nuggets, the Rapids, the Mammoth. He owns Arsenal. It's the English soccer team.
Oh.
But anyway, so you see Kroenke in his box in the game in SoFi Stadium, the stadium he built in LA, beautiful brand new football stadium. And then they pan over and you see 20 or so mostly white young men, strong young men. And I'm like, wait a second, that's the Colorado Avalanche. And then I'm like, wait a second, they're all wearing matching LA Rams uniforms. What the hell are they doing? Don't they know there's cameras in this place?
What did you think they should be wearing at a Rams 49ers game?
I mean, one, why are they there? Why are they in LA seeing a football game? The Broncos are right here and they're doing great. They're having a great season.
Because their boss man invited them and what are they going to say, no?
I know. Well, that's the actual truth, is that it just lays bare that these pro sports teams that we cheer for, like, they have nothing to do with civic pride or our civic identity. These are companies. These are private companies.
Yeah, I would hesitate, though. I would think maybe, I don't know. I guess I'm just thinking about Jokic and, like, would he do that? I don't know if he would.
No, that's the thing about the Nuggets and the Avalanche, and I'm sure we'll see that this season, but they're very dutiful in the way they do crossovers. Mm-hmm. You'll see Jokic go to the Avalanche game and he'll put on the jersey that's too small. It's very funny. And you'll see McKinnon go to the Nuggets game and he'll put on the jersey. But you don't ever... I will be watching to see if they ever do Broncos stuff or if it's always within the Kroenke empire.
That's really
going
true.
Forward.
Because that's the Walton Penner group. Mm-hmm. That's the other billionaires in this town.
Totally different billionaire family.
That own a bunch of land.
Yes.
Well,
anyway.
Don't get caught out there, Avalanche.
It was just so lame, too. It was like all matching jerseys. Like they had just been given them before the game and none of the guys had a second thought of like, hey, maybe this is not... Hey, maybe our fans, maybe our like 12-year-old... kid who's coming to the Avs game and lives in Denver and loves the team and is like, wait a second, maybe that kid doesn't want to see us wearing this.
We're in a box. This rules. I don't know if you've ever been in a box seat for anything, Paul. It rules. I can see where.
It's nice. Mr. K's handing out gluten-free pizzas. We're all eating slices. It's great.
My 4-year-old's observation of the box when we got to sit in one for a monster truck show was, we have our own bathroom, Mom. And, you know,
it rules.
That's how I feel like maybe the Avalanche was just like, we're in a cool place right now.
Just say thanks to Mr. K and move on. Yep. Enjoy the game.
Yeah. Well,
it's a perk.
I know. Well, you know, here in Broncos Nation, we take that stuff very seriously. I get it. I got hometown pride, even though I don't understand football. So, well, let's move on to a big story. I mean, it's Colorado in the national spotlight. We've got a case coming out of Colorado going in front of the Supreme Court this week. What is going on, Paul?
Yeah, I think this is interesting to talk about because Colorado seems to produce a lot of these cases around these kinds of issues of speech versus like our more progressive stances on, you know, queer people.
It
LGBTQ
really always
community.
Involves queer people,
yeah.
Yes.
So this one is about conversion therapy. Apparently, Colorado is one of more than 20 states with laws prohibiting or banning conversion therapy. And if that term doesn't mean anything to you, it is sort of a set of psychiatric techniques or so-called treatments meant to change or address someone's gender identity or attraction to the same sex. Obviously, this is a little bit more of a conservative thing. Maybe you've heard about these wilderness camps where kids get sent to pray the gay away, this kind of thing.
Yes.
This is all in the conversion therapy milieu. Obviously, this has been widely repudiated. Most professionals, mental health professionals, don't take this seriously, which is why Colorado passed a law in 2019 to ban it.
Well, I was going to say also, I think it's been proven in certain cases to be pretty harmful to folks that have experienced conversion therapy, often against their will because they are minors. Mm-hmm. So just to put that out there.
Yeah, no, of course, these treatments, they frequently are known to cause emotional distress linked to depression, in some cases suicide. Very hard situations. But we have this law from 2019 that now is being challenged. So there is a case from the Springs, a woman named Casey Chiles or Childs, who has a master's degree in clinical mental health from Denver Seminary. She's an evangelical Christian. She says this law that we have here in Colorado violates her freedom of speech.
This is interesting to me. Does she have an argument for how this violates her freedom of speech.
Yeah, and this is where the interesting part is to me, is like, what are the cases? What's the standing? Because how these cases work, how most cases get to the Supreme Court, is there's like a whole legal apparatus. In this case, it's the Alliance Defending Freedom, which we've heard from before. This is a conservative legal organization out of Arizona that comes and finds these super specific, particular people whose stories typify their exact complaint with the current laws. And so then the Supreme Court, which we know has a very conservative leaning right now, is looking for cases to talk about these issues that they care about, although they might not say it this way. But then they'll take a case, they choose whether or not to take a case, and they are taking a lot of these cases, and that's one of these. So the standing in this case for Ms. Childs is, this is a quote from the New York Times, she says, "If an adolescent comes to me and they say, quote, I actually do want to make a goal of coming to terms and coming to peace and gaining comfort with my biological sex, we cannot make that goal." She is a mental health service provider. And she says this law is banning her from providing services to people who want them.
I am skeptical because I feel that generally when we hear about these cases, this is not teenagers coming to a therapist, it's parents coming to a therapist. So, I mean, I'm not discounting that this has happened. Maybe it has. It just feels like such a rare case for when we talk about conversion therapy. Again, this is such a touchy, this involves minors. Just, it feels more complicated than if it was adults, which is like what we've seen more with the same-sex cases that this Alliance Defending Freedom has taken on, like the Masterpiece Cake Shop, the
Jack Phillips, who didn't want to make the cake for the gay wedding.
The 303 Creative website didn't want to do a website design for queer family or queer couple or whatever. So this to me is a little bit different, but
Yeah, no, the fact that it was like her saying that it was kids coming to her and wanting this treatment, wanting to like feeling these, what they would maybe say intrusive thoughts, about attraction to the same sex people, and they want treatment, like that's interesting. That speaks to me of this, maybe there's a culture of this evangelical community in the Springs, which is, the Colorado story of this, is we have this great combination, I mean, great for the Alliance Defending Freedom, I think, of a very progressive state government that has passed a lot of laws that advance people's goals, like the LGBTQ community in the last 10, 15 years.
Basic human rights.
But then at the same time, we have these pockets of very, very conservative, very Christian people who are wanting to, who feel pressured by these laws, who feel oppressed by them in some way.
Which I find interesting because I think you could still counsel a young person through a situation like this without it having to be conversion therapy. But I don't know the ins and outs of this particular situation.
Well, Mrs. Childs says she is not seeking to cure clients of same-sex attractions or to change their sexual orientation, but only to help patients with their stated goals, which sometimes include seeking to reduce or eliminate unwanted sexual attractions.
I have a friend who there's no other. I don't know if there's more modern language or way to say this, but he went back in the closet, quote unquote, 2 times in his adult life.
Oh, that's interesting.
And started dating women again, really pushing himself in a way that, as his friends, we were like, "What's going on?" Like, and it was really tough. I think a part of it was his faith. Was very strong in his family, and he still was very aligned with his church. And he wanted to conform, and also culturally, it was not okay for him to be gay in the culture that he was raised in. And I just watched the pain that my friend went through as an adult. This is adult making this decision. So I'm not saying these are the same things. I'm just thinking about what I don't know what it could feel like. I also am thinking about raising a child and watching the nuances and him exploring or discovering who he is. And I can't, I don't know. This is hard because it is such an emotional thing, but it's also, we're talking about a court case. It's just about how someone can or cannot practice their field, I guess. So,
and that's her argument.
I don't know how to parse it. Yeah.
And when it comes to the legal side, Attorney General Phil Weiser, who I'm pretty sure is going to be arguing this, he says that states typically ban repudiated medical practices. So this is the legal basis. There's this precedent. And this is more about professional conduct than speech. So that's going to be his argument to the court.
Okay, his argument
It's
is
not
like, this isn't a free speech issue.
This is we need to make sure we're just regulating an industry.
Okay.
When it comes to mental health, we need to make sure that if we're giving out licenses to people, that they're giving a minimum quality of care.
That's an interesting argument. Again, this also separates this a little bit from those other two cases, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see how SCOTUS argues this.
Always.
And sort of takes it apart. Interesting. Oof.
This episode is brought to you by Denver Film. Because movie lovers across the city are getting hyped. It's almost time for Denver's biggest celebration of cinema, and you don't want to miss it. I'm talking red carpets, celebs, Hollywood moguls, exclusive parties and VIP events, and you can be a part of it. Honestly, I've always had a great time at Denver Film Fest. Not only do they bring out so many good movies that you can just show up to basically a random theater on a Tuesday night on a whim and see something interesting, but you also have a chance to dress up nice, go out to a packed screening of one of the year's best, because they always bring the best. The Film Fest returns for its 48th year, running from October 31st to November 9th. They're featuring over 200 of the world's best new films, as well as all kinds of other great events. Choose your adventure and get tickets at denverfilm.org. That's denverfilm.org. Okay, so this next one is great because this is a great Colorado character, Hunter S. Thompson.
Yeah.
Somehow back in the news 15, 20 years after his passing?
20 years after
20
his
years.
passing.
Wow. Didn't expect to be
2005.
talking about him today, but
No.
Here we are. What's new, Brie?
So for folks who don't know, Hunter S. Thompson is sort of one of the purveyors of what is known as gonzo journalism. I feel like this is I feel like my age group, Gen X, is sort of the last era of this type of journalism being sort of not controversial, but different. So he's known for a style of journalism that centers himself, that is not unbiased in any way. And many folks will know him more as the character portrayed by Johnny Depp in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which is an adaptation of some of his work. But he also was famous here in Colorado because he lived in Woody Creek in the 70s, I think maybe late 60s, early 70s, through to when he passed in 2005. And in that time, he also ran for sheriff of Aspen under the Freak Power ticket. But at any rate, he's in the news. His name is in the news lately because his widow has come forward and said, I want his case reexamined. His death was ruled a suicide in 2005, and it was investigated by the Pitkin County Sheriff's Department, and the case was closed. And she wants it to be reopened by the Colorado Bureau of Investigation and be reinvestigated. So,
do we know anything? What do we know about the details of his passing?
Well, he died by suicide. It was he shot himself in his home. Apparently, his widow was on the phone with him when this happened. His son
that's horrifying.
Yeah, his son, his daughter-in-law, and his grandchild were on the premises when this happened as well. And as far as what they've said is that it's still being, nothing new has come to light. Basically, is what the sheriff's department has said. And the case is still being ruled a suicide. But what I found interesting was that Sky High News in Grand County reported that Pitkin County Sheriff Michael Buglione said Anita, his Hunter S. Thompson's widow, came to him earlier this year, and that, quote, there were concerns. The concerns were not about the original investigation as much as she's been hearing from, say, friends and possibly relatives about Hunter's demise. He said that in speaking with her, it was difficult to understand the exact concerns as she was speaking to him so quickly. But then he said she just found out something that is life-changing for her. And then there's no other information. We don't know what those I know it was, I looked at 4 different reportings of this to see if there was something, and that was he basically was like, I'm not going to speak for her. You'll have to talk to her. So he suggested that she take this case to the CBI then for a new perspective on the information.
And they're so backlogged with sexual assault cases, they're moving this to the top of the list.
I mean,
that's all I know about the CBI right now is that it's been in shambles for years, and now
after
it was
the
so
Missy
shocking
Woods debacle, yes,
that they would take this on.
It's one of those unfortunate, do high profile cases get more attention? Yes, absolutely. So as far as we know, nothing has changed, but something that apparently his widow has heard has made her think that this needs to be reinvestigated.
What do you think about Hunter S. Thompson's legacy in Colorado?
I can't say that I think about it much, to be honest with you. Again, I think I'm a little bit young I was never super invested in his work as much as I came from this school of journalism, the alt weekly world, is where I learned to write. My Hunter S. Thompson was Lester Bangs, who other people, music people will know is like the Hunter S. Thompson of music writing. So I know why he was such a big figure, an outsized figure in writing. I don't know if that's ever translated to me as something super connected to Colorado. Although, again, he ran for office, essentially,
yes,
which made him an interesting character. What do you think about this, Paul?
Oh, well, I have felt the same way. I was always kind of put off by the whole vibe growing up. Never really for me.
Yeah.
But when we were doing the Lauren Boebert project, I thought about it a lot because once I heard the story that he ran for sheriff of Pitkin County, I was like, oh, that's not so far from Rifle.
True.
And then I started to see parallels because Lauren Boebert has become this politician who owns her own platform as a social media figure. And isn't that the final conclusion of the process that Hunter S. Thompson began when he first put himself into the narrative and decided the journalism could not be objective. It must be subjective. It was this series of events that went through the 24-hour news cycle, that went through the onset of the social media age. Every person is their own publisher, is their own platform, is their own brand. And Lauren Boebert then is here we are. The personal is the political is the personal. So I was kind of interested in exploring that. We never quite got to it, but I did find it fascinating that his whole sheriff campaign. Like I remember reading about the Freak Power movement in Aspen, a great Colorado story that has yet to be fully told, in my opinion, and we should before the people, all those people pass.
Yeah.
But one of the things that he ran against was development. He hated change. Hunter S. Thompson was one of the original NIMBYs. He came from San Francisco, from Big Sur, where he was living with hippies in the 60s. He did this big project with the Hells Angels. Then he moved to Aspen, and he was like, all these millionaires and billionaires are trying to change Aspen, and this little town used to be something special. Or like when I showed up, and it was like, all right, Hunter S. Thompson, like, okay, sure.
Yeah, that is funny. I didn't think about that transition from him embedding in the hate with the Hells Angels, in Haight-Ashbury, excuse me, and then moving there, and that's such a Colorado thing to do too. Is like, I came to this tiny place and I like it tiny.
The way I found it, that's how it should stay.
That's exactly
forever.
how it should stay. Never mind what was happening
changes
before this that led to this. That the westward I mean, we could go on, but that's an interesting parallel, Paul. I had never thought about that. I really only thought of. He's so ingrained in me in the journalism world as like, this is the type of person that created the thing that, like you said, I went through that exact, I lived through the internet of blogging and creating your own platform and doing these things and telling your story yourself. But I never thought about it in the political world and how the eventual outcome is the Lauren Boeberts of the world.
I mean, think about how she got famous for owning the libs, for talking about how mainstream media is so biased. It's so biased because they just hate conservatives. Right. Like, and everybody does this, of course.
Oh, everybody on all sides.
But this is the Hunter S. Thompson fight. This is what he was rebelling against, was the unbiased reporting.
I hate to always be like, what would it be like if he was still here? But I do think about figures like him, how they would participate in this current state of the world, and I always think it would probably be disappointing.
I would to invite. It would 100% be disappointing. I would like to invite everybody with rose-colored glasses when it comes to Hunter S. Thompson to please revisit his books. Yeah. Read his books. I tried to read Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail 72 last year. Yeah. And the man did not respect people who are different from him. Yeah. There's a lot of racism in these books. It is not nice. And sexism. Yeah. Hunter S. Thompson, as much as he was like a pioneering figure in some ways, he was also very stuck in the past. No,
and you're touching on something that I think I didn't really want to say out loud, which is I knew a lot of young men who idolized this writer. And as a young writer in the 90s, I didn't see a lot of women doing those same kinds of things. So I was like following, again, Lester Bangs is a very similar situation. He's not quite as racist, but yes, it's almost an archetype in my generation. So Something to think about for sure. We'll be watching to see what maybe Anita Thompson found out.
I would love to know how that turns out. And he is undeniable. I mean, it's worth a real deeper dive on like who this guy really was, what happened to him, and what his influence was.
Yeah, I was going to say how he shaped a lot of journalism, especially the Rolling Stone era and the Playboy era and these things that are so long gone or so far from where we are now. But yeah, absolutely.
We'll put a link to his article. He wrote a 1970 article called The Battle for Aspen or The Battle of Aspen.
I would like to read that.
It was before he ran for sheriff. It was when he was helping out with someone's mayoral campaign. And it was all about the same like housing density, development, NIMBY fears, all of it. It's a really good article. And I think he wrote the Hells Angels book and then he went and did this and it was good. It was before he melted his brain.
Oh man, I just keep going back to this edgelord thought, these edgelord conversations, these guys that think they're so radical and they're like, you can't build here. That's your radical take.
I mean, he thought some stuff about like smoking weed in public too.
Right,
it wasn't all about
it wasn't just,
yes.
No, but that is an interesting corner of that conversation.
This episode is brought to you by Cozy Earth. When it comes to bedtime, our 4-year-old is constantly trying to get in bed and sleep between me and my husband. And while we try not to relent, because if you know anything, kids have to sleep in their own beds if you want to have a sane and happy life, trust me. But sometimes we give in. So, how do you keep a kind of tiny queen-size bed comfortable with 2 adults and 1 wiggly kid in it? 2 words, Cozy Earth. These sheets are like sleep magic. The moment we hit those super soft pillowcases, it's lights out, baby. You can try Cozy Earth sheets risk-free right now with their 100-night sleep trial. Try them out. If you don't love them, you can return them, hassle-free. They also offer a 10-year warranty, but trust me, once you feel this level of comfort, you'll want it to last a decade. Head to CozyEarth.com and use code CozyDenver for 40% off. That's code CozyDenver, and you get 40% off. And if you get a post-purchase survey, please make sure to let them know you heard about Cozy Earth right here on CityCast Denver. Because your bed should be more than a place to sleep. It should be your happy place. Cozy Earth makes that possible.
Okay, well, it's Tuesday, and we love to hear from you. We've gotten so many great comments and conversation continuations from you all in the last couple of weeks in particular. And what do we have, Paul, this time?
Let's start with a quick one here from Aaron W., who writes, "Hey, CityCast, enough of the Love is Blind coverage. There's a Denverite on Survivor. Would love for you guys to cover him." This is Aaron W.
I love that, Aaron W.
Okay, I'm going to look up what the Denverite on Survivor's name is.
I've never watched. Have you watched Survivor, Paul?
No, Survivor is one of those things where, like, when I first came out, I was like, wow, that sounds so cool. And then I never watched it. And I've always had in the back of my head that someday when I'm old, I'm going to go through every season. I'm going to get really into it because I think I would like it.
I feel that.
Apparently, the guy's name is Stephen Rahm, the Denverite, who is on the show.
All right,
now.
any Stephen Rahm fans, send us your cool backstories or what we need to know about this guy.
Yeah, give us the gossip. Do you know Stephen in real life?
Also, sorry, Aaron W. This is not enough of Love is Blind. We will be talking more about Love is Blind.
Yeah, because it's super fun.
And it's getting weirder.
Okay, let's do another one. This is from Gretchen from West Wash Park. Gretchen writes, "I think remote workers who rather be in the office are a myth. I only know of one, even those who live in studio apartments. If you work for a company of any size, there were no negotiations if you worked for a CEO who demanded in-office work. I think it's a fantasy of, quote, here's a nice mall, therefore," so she's referring to the fact that the mayor bought the pavilions last week, or wants to buy, city council has to approve. "I think it's a fantasy of, here's a nice mall, therefore remote workers will suddenly want to take RTD and commute 2 hours each day from Thornton/Arvada/Centennial to be in the office." Brie, what do you think? Is that a canard?
I am with Gretchen on this one because, again, before the pandemic, I worked in an office that was hybrid already. And I remember my boss, Brad Siegel, who's been on the show many times, saying, "I'm a weird old boomer and I love to be in the office, but I know not everybody feels this way." And he was very aware that most of us did enjoy the ability to work from home most of the time. And I'm just with Gretchen that I don't know if any of these bells and whistles they're trying to add to the 16th Street Mall are going to change the fact that someone's commute is 2 hours or that they've already acclimated their lives over the last few years to the work from home, whether that's their kids' childcare is like there's just all these factors. I'm with you. What do you think?
I want to just respond to one piece of this. Gretchen said, if you work for a company of any size, there were no negotiations if you work for a CEO who demanded in-office work. I agree. That's probably not how anyone would do it. The CEO would just say, hey, the end of remote work is happening. But what you can do is what you can do in the same situation as if you're trying to negotiate better rent for yourself, cheaper rent. You can go find another similar job that you think you're qualified for that you could get, and then show your boss that there is a better option for you out there, and that they will then feel pressure to keep you and give you concessions. That's how these negotiations
in this
work.
economy?
In any economy.
I just feel like people are really holding on tight to their jobs right now because things are uncertain. I'm just thinking about what city workers just went through, for instance.
And this is why the pressure exists, because the balance of power has shifted. The CEO always has more power, but now more than ever.
I know.
But this is how you do it, is the negotiation has to start with you, because they're just going to tell you what to do, and you can say yes or no. You can quit if you want. But if you can go find another job you think you could get, or a bunch of other jobs with better pay, better perks, show your boss.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just here with Gretchen on this. I'm going to die on this hill. I don't think there's people out there, and yeah, you may not get that choice. I'm also thinking about the offices we've been in, and people are not necessarily coming back, but also the places where we've been, I don't think it's a requirement. It's very different when it's a requirement. So, but we'll see how this purchase of a mall on the mall, does or does not do for Denver.
Yeah, I think people are eager to hear more of your thoughts when you're ready to share them.
Yeah.
We should talk about them.
I have lots of thoughts about it because I watched them build that thing, and it's part of a long line of indoor, outdoor malls, the trend. Sometimes they're built to be all indoors, sometimes they're built to be all outdoors. So what Denver does with that, I'm curious. We'll see. Again, as always, we love to hear from you. Give us a call on the CityCast Denver hotline, always open, 720-500-5418. You can text us on that line as well, or send us an email, denver@citycast.fm, about any previous episodes, any conversations, anything that you want to share with us. Paul, welcome to a membership-free, campaign-free week.
Thank you all for your support.
We really appreciate you guys so much. Thanks. That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. If you enjoyed this show, why not take a minute to tell famous LA Rams fan Cale Makar about us? Rate the show wherever you get your podcasts, and subscribe to our morning newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. And hey, thanks to our new neighbors, Lena K, Matt F, Catherine A, Hannah W, Justin RR, Beatrice G, Rick L, Kira RM, Gary B, Jonah G, Michaela G, Tally C, Jessica P, Ananda Y, Fran L, Brent D, Christy C, Taylor U, Nathan W, Maya B.E., Stacy L, Ashley W, Andrea P, Kelly F, and Emily G, who just joined our membership program. You can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Denver neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. See ya. Mall Madness, the greatest board game ever played.